On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed into the Ohio River under the weight of the rush hour traffic at around 5 p.m. At the time, 37 vehicles were crossing, and 31 of those vehicles fell with the bridge, leading to deaths of 46 people and 9 serious injuries. The bridge first became open to the public in 1928. It was named after its aluminum paint and unique silver structure. It stretched 530 meters across the river. Unlike the standard chain-link suspension bridges at the time, the Silver Bridge was created with an I-bar design where the cables were anchored to stiff metal rods. An I-bar suspension bridge had never been built before in the United States, so there were uncertainties about how much weight the bridge could hold. The architects claimed that they were using heat-treated carbon steel, which is supposedly the strongest steel ever made. For 39 years, the bridge served its function. Then on the 15th of December in 1967, there was a loud noise and the bridge instantly folded in on itself. There was a defect in one of the I-bar links below the north tower, so the chain detached and the entire support eventually broke. The whole bridge collapsed in under a minute.
The collapse of the Silver Bridge was a major disaster indeed, but the intentions of the civil engineers and architects were not ethically incorrect. In the Code of Ethics, section 77.2i says, "A practitioner shall regard the practitioner's duty to public welfare as paramount." Judging from this code alone, the engineers failed to uphold this Code of Ethics and performed an injustice to the public, resulting in the death of 46 civilians. Some alternatives the engineers could have taken would be to have used a more commonly known material, one that can be inspected easily and easily detected of any unsafe precautions. A more stable and safer material would have prevented any possibilities of unknown sources of error that could arise in the bridge and would have saved the lives of many innocent civilians. Section 77.2i states, "A practitioner shall regard the practitioner's duty to public welfare as paramount." Choosing a safer material would have abided by this code of ethics and would have resulted in less ethical issues. Each of these actions would result in no violation or breaches of Code 77 or 72, which is what we are looking for. With the alternative actions put in place, they would follow both Code 72 and 77 without breach, and would have allowed for ethically and morally correct decisions to be made when constructing the bridge. It is argued that the failure and collapse of the Silver Bridge was impossible to see coming without thorough inspection. The correct path to prevent such a horrible disaster and the steps needed to be taken would have been to have the bridge thoroughly inspected in frequent periods over time in order to ensure the safety of the bridge and to that of the public. Engineers today are much more knowledgeable about these things that can cause failures such as corrosion fatigue and stress corrosion that occurred to the Silver Bridge. These are vital steps that engineers have grown from in order to succeed on the right path and implement safer and better technology within bridges of the present. With the technology of today, it allows for safer and better bridges to be constructed in our societies so that we would not ever have to see another Silver Bridge disaster ever again.
The Silver Bridge was designed by J.E. Grainer Company and built by West Virginia Ohio Bridge Company along with subcontractor American Bridge Company. Hence, these three companies, along with the U.S. government, who assigned the bridge company to construct the bridge, are the defendants of this legal case. The plaintiffs are all the people affected from the collapse of the bridge, whether it be through injury or property damage. For this reason, tort law analysis is applicable here rather than contract law. J.E. Grainer Company does in fact satisfy the three terms for proving tort. They were responsible for the designing of the bridge and provided two alternatives in place of the wire cable design of the bridge, one of which included the I-bars, which were critical in the failure of the bridge. They had a duty to serve the people using the bridge and had faults in their plans. West Virginia Ohio Bridge Company and American Bridge Company simply complied with the plans, and it is reasonable to assume that the changes were appropriate, and hence, the second criteria is not fulfilled. The U.S. government consisted of many qualified engineers and officials. However, the district engineer ended up approving the revised plans provided by J.E. Grainer for completion, and approved the final structure once erected. This was in fact unlawful from the district engineer, as he did not notify other government officials and board members of such changes. Therefore, through vicarious liability, the U.S. government as a whole satisfies all three principles for tort. As a result, both the U.S. government and J.E. Grainer Company are liable for the collapse of the bridge in 1967, with the latter likely owing approximately 60 to 70% of all damages to those affected in the collapse via the concurrent tortfeasors concept. They were responsible for the designs and were entrusted with their engineering knowledge to create appropriate plans. In conclusion, the collapse of the Silver Bridge was an avoidable yet valuable moment in history. The event allowed for more frequent and in-depth bridge inspections, as well as more knowledgeable engineers aware of corrosions and stresses in future bridge designs. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for watching.